Thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica Podcast. I am Mustafa Sharif, an urban planner, and you're more than welcome to join my big journey of exploring the making of smarter and more livable cities. Please don't forget to follow Urbanistica on the different social media platforms, and also let's connect on LinkedIn. Big thanks to Urbanistica Podcast partner AFRY. AFRY is an international engineering and design company providing sustainable solutions in the fields of energy, industry, and infrastructure. Are you ready for a new episode? Let's go for it. So, hello and welcome to Urbanistica Podcast.
Hello, Mustafa. Really nice to be here.
How are you?
Really good. I have spent some days with my family in Spain, so I'm quite relaxed and a bit of color in my skin.
How was a lot of sun, right?
Yes, too much sun in the way that you notice that the climate is changing as well in Spain, north of Spain.
Yeah. So I'm really happy that finally we managed to sit here and now it's time to do the podcast. Because we had a plan for a long time ago.
Yes.
Now we are making it. So let's start with you. How would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Okay, that's I'm Jesús Azpeitia is my name. I'm a Spanish-Swedish architect. I'm living here in Stockholm from a long time already. It's over 20 years.
Okay.
So I really enjoy here in Stockholm. I have my family here as well. I have still my roots in Spain and say hello to them. So I moved here like 2001. I moved to Stockholm.
Yeah.
So since then I have been working in different fields here. Somehow relate to architecture, but not always. But always to the creative and so. I really like to jump from one to the other.
Yeah.
So that's a bit my background.
Yeah, and now you are a creative leader in Tengbom.
That's right. I'm creative leader since 6 years ago. Time flies. So it's really nice work and really nice chance that Tengbom put on me.
Yeah, and what I love to explore with you today is like the creative leader role and also talking more about architecture, beauty and so on. So first tell me like what is the background of this role? Like how did this come?
Okay, it came through a process in a way. So networking and you meet friends and so on. But I got up with many friends that were working at that time in Tengbom. Yeah. The CEO at that time, Johanna Frelin, and the office director, Mark Humphrey, that is still office director in Stockholm. Yeah. So in this kind of discussions, they always experience the feeling that they wanted to do things and to move forward and to be more creative, innovative. I could feel that kind of energy in them and so on. And they will start to talk about with different, and they were as well interested in my kind of profile, have a teach profile, as well pedagogical profile, and I'm as well a kind of work in kind of a strategical way. So it's in this kind of discussions or talks. But it took some time, it took some years. I mean, the good things takes time sometimes.
Of course, yeah.
And it landed in the way that Tengbom somehow wanted to move forward, became better in architecture. They were really good. It's not a question of that, but you always can be a bit better. It's about this kind of challenges that I love it, how move forward and be more innovative. So it suit really good. So and then we start to dialogue about which kind of forms you'll be and so on. Because what was really important for the office, for Tengbom, and for me as well, is it's not the kind of thing that a creative director used to be more kind of control or more hierarchical way. So I wanted to be more, I mean, it's the workers, the architects there who have to take the decisions, who have to create.
In the end,
So more in the role as a catalyst. More so it was really nice. So it's kind of more working daily in the projects that are going on, and to always look what is going to happen in some years and what we need to become better.
So if you summarize, what is the mission of a creative leader, of your mission?
We have to be better in architecture, a bit more creative in the daily way and so.
And what does better mean? It's like quicker, more sustainable, or
I mean, it's related to architectural qualities, of course. Sustainability have to be. That is not a question, but it have to be better in how the aesthetics and other qualities about the experience of the architecture and so it's really related to Gestaltas Liv Miljöer to be better and the European Bauhaus to be more sustainable and beautiful. And it's in fact the word beautiful we use quite often in our manifesto. We have our architectural manifesto and so on. So we are not scared to talk about that things, and that's good.
Yeah, because usually here, like what I sensed is like, let's say in Sweden, we are not really talking about the beauty of architecture or what is it and so on. Because then it will be like a debate, and from what I experienced, like people avoid this discussion.
Yes,
but I love to bring it now and ask you, like, okay, beauty, what is it?
That's a good question, and it could be completely agree, but it's not about. I think it came about the scareness to talk about aesthetics mainly and beauty. It came already from the schools. So when I have my courses in the school already, they're really happy that sometimes they're in the 4th or 5th year and no one has talked about aesthetics. We use other works. We are scared. We use tectonics.
But why?
Because I think that somehow I have the feeling, and the Swedish culture is a bit afraid that not to be consensus, a bit about to think different. Somehow I have the feeling. And the word beauty and what it means that it's somehow a personal thinking about that, and it implies that not everyone is going to think about the same and to have the same feelings for the same thing. And it is some kind of a conflict about the culture and to use the words and sort of, because I completely sure that everyone knows what's this beauty for them or not.
Yeah, of course.
They have a really clear opinion, but they are scared to say that. They don't dare, not scared, they don't really dare to say that. I believe that that's beautiful, and that's the correct style in this project and so. You never use that word. When you see on the net in the different kind of studios, architectural studios, you quite not so often you find this word.
No, I see more like sustainable or something like this.
You don't even use architecture word. I mean, you use another words. I mean, it's I mean, look at it. I could.
Yeah, but then if, like, how to say, if everyone has an opinion or feeling about how this building looks like or how we preserve, so how can we have a discussion? Like, is there a standard of measuring what is like the...
But the main question is, I think, why everyone have to have the same opinion? I mean, we are in an open society, and the word beauty comes already from the inner space, from the 17th century, when it came. We can get back to that, and it's based in the ground space that is personal, and everyone have the right to think different and to feel different. So the question is, why problematize that everything have to have the same opinion about what's beauty? What is to be thin is about that when you are working in the project, you should have to not just about the style, but that the style should be beautiful. I mean, you can work in a postmodernistic way, in a really ugly way, in a really beautiful way. It's some about that. And don't worry that the others, I mean, okay, this kind of a style that's beautiful, but it should be other styles, also other kind of beauties. We are living in more complex society that it was for 50 years ago with the modernists. That was one style and so on. But we are more complex society now. We are more inclusive society that everyone can hear. Before, the society was really dealing with few people. Now we are more open to different opinions, more inclusive. And then that means that it should be reflected as well in different kind of architectural styles at the same time.
Like more space for other perspective and opinion.
Exactly.
But then, like, the question here is, like, as a planners, you know, we like to have something fixed. Cities should look like this. So in your opinion, like, cities could also look different, like buildings within the city could also look different. It's like how we see maybe in some other countries. Instead of, like, here, I guess here in Sweden, you can sense that, okay, things looks almost the same. There are some details different, but in the overall picture, buildings and so on, almost like the same.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that in that kind of processes, we should be thinking more open. I mean, not so restricted. And mostly of this detail plan and so on looks like that we can have color and so on. So we have to be more flexible in the way to create more space to different. Because at the end, when you respond to this kind of things that should be equal and so on, you always refer to a kind of personal society that is a bit former society. We are inspiring societies that were not so open at that time and so on. So we should be more respectful for different kind of perspectives as well. But of course, they have to be good ones, because you can build a design in a classical way and be ugly, and you can design a classical way and be really beautiful. That's the thing that I find more interesting. More that is the classical style, and the postmodernist and the modernist style that is more relevant.
Yeah, but then if we, how to say, I'm being the devil advocate now. So if we leave the space more open to different styles and so on, the image of the city will be maybe chaotic, instead of there is one formal, or you can sense this city looks like this. If we leave the space free to architects to do what they think together, of course, with the client, this is good here, then we're going to have different styles, different buildings and so on. This will affect the image of the city.
Yes, it could be affected, but not in the big scale. We're talking more in a more closer scale about that. In the big scale, I think it's still good that the planners and the politicians as well, they think about what kind of city we're creating, about how we should move in the cities and so on. So that's ground to be common for everyone. And then we can discuss about the heights of the buildings and the openness of the building. So we can still create some kind of playground for everyone. And that don't make chaotic, but at the same it makes possible to be more flexible. So I'm not against that. To say that the buildings have to have 5 floors, and and this kind of small parameters. That they make quite big impact the way that you want to the city.
Yeah,
and not just the buildings. We should think about the landscape and other kind of spaces. That's the same important.
Yeah. And I love to hear more how do you work with in projects? Can you give us some tell us more about?
Yeah, the main point about my role is about that everyone has to be a bit more innovative and creative. So they are not the same meaning, but also it's always thinking how I can make the others to be more creative.
Okay.
And more innovative, and to try to dare more. So I usually I work not so far that I work in the school, in fact. So this kind of peer review thinking about that, making the team open to more feedback.
Okay.
In different styles. We call it pin-ups. Even can misunderstand but it's quite traditional in the architectural schools. But it's kind of a peer review feedback. So to see that they have feedback from different person, relevant knowledge. So it could be sustainability pin-ups. It could be absolute design pin-ups that are more really design feedback. So this kind of. The other one is really important that. You can create so many processes and so many checklists. Yeah, exactly. But at the end, it's the persons in the project that have to do the work. So try to help when they start to build the team and to put the right persons in the team.
Yeah.
That complement that. So this is another. And the other one, to try to dare to say, because at the end it's not my project, it should be the team's project.
Exactly.
Because it's not sustainable. I cannot control. I don't know, 1,000 projects are going on in Tengbom, but I'm sure there are going 200 right now in Stockholm. It's impossible. So you have to do that. The team have to be also, they have to take the decisions. Yeah. The last decision is always the team, but I have to dare and to challenge them and to say, how you think about that way? Why do you do that? But you say that you wanted to do that. And sometimes you still say, I think that is not good now. What do you think? So, and that's a kind of scary how you do that and say that without losing the engagement in the project. So, but I usually there. I try to do in a pedagogical way. Yeah. Sometimes it gets my Spanish temperamento there, but it's another question.
But is it how to say, if I simplify it, is it the feedback session we had with a professor in the school?
The tutorial.
Kind of.
Yeah,
no?
It's not so. And that's it's not so far. But not just about me, too. This another person's that could be relevant knowledge about the process.
The experts,
also. And it's to try to make encourage, not just encourage, almost to demand in the way that you have to have the reviews.
Okay, so it's more like part of the process.
Yeah, we follow, in fact, how working, what are the projects that have no reviews, and so on, to talk with the team. Do you see that it's better, and so on.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, this is a cultural change in the office.
Also, yeah.
So it's a förflyttning, so I say in Swedish, this is this cultural change, and you have to be careful what you do, but at the same time engage the people, and but it works. It takes time.
Yeah,
you have to be patient.
Yeah,
but it works good.
So if let's say if I'm an architect or I have a team and a project, we start with the sketching and creating the proposal, and then we have the pinup, the review, and then we get feedback and work on it further, right? It's this like the concept of
the concept, or the other concept that is really important. I try to explain from the beginning. I think, but it's general. I find it with my students and in office. We've usually quite too often we architects jump into the solutions before to knowing the problem. You know it, isn't it? So it's not a start to sketching. First, I mean, have to, what is the problem that we have to solve, and to know the how to say, the client as well.
Yeah.
I mean, what they want, the client, what their ambition of the client, and so it's this time, and then I start to make proposals about what's relevant here. To work with and to solve with architectural qualities we want to have. What kind of beauty, what kind of sustainability is suitable, what kind of this kind of parameters, and afterwards we jump into the sketches. Many times now it's becoming better, but many times I see the tendency. But I see with my students as well, they just came with a solution without know what's the problem to have to solve, and that's important, because sometimes if we don't do that way, then it becomes a miscommunication with our clients.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe we are like in rush and stress because we don't have so many hours? So we just like start solving the problem instead of like checking the background, do research, understanding the project DNA.
Yeah, it could be explanation, of course, because sometimes it's difficult. All that you explain when you have this kind of 100 hours for you get paid for.
Yeah.
It's how you manage the time, and then it's. And that's the reason that you have to be flexible or more agile on how you deal with that. But you, of course, you want to make it a good work, and you have a bucket of your experiences that is really important, and that you know what it works. You think that you know what it works, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But then you solve the quick one, then you deliver something, but at the same time you are not creative or innovative because you are doing the same. So it's,
like repeating.
So what it happens is more about to take in a reflective way the discussions. Maybe not in a project, but to try to do a dialogue and work in this kind of culture problem. Okay, but if we want to be innovative, we'll say, we have 100 hours or 200 or whatever. So it's better to discuss first what can we do out of that. More that so it's when they try to adjust and so on, and then at the beginning it was a bit difficult, that these discussions with the team and so on, because it's stress and so on. I understand that, but at the end you start to try things and to encourage them to try and so on, and to change some mind change and so on. And then you notice that it takes some years, but you notice.
Okay, so it's also like a question of time. Yeah, you will not see.
It's a culture. It's a culture.
And it takes time.
Yeah, it takes time, but it's always this kind of cultural. I mean, when you have some kind of culture, how you work and so on, it takes time, and you should be patient. And I mean, the question is how patient you are. That's another question.
Yeah.
But I'm happy as far as I see that we are moving in the right direction. That I think that we do.
Yeah.
As far as we do that, when it doesn't happen, though, I became really impatient.
You mentioned creative and innovative.
Yeah.
Can you break it down for us? Like, what do you mean?
Creative. I mean, in the word creative and innovative, it works together, but it's not the same thing. Because you can be creative and anyway it is not relevant. Innovative is, for me, includes this in relevance in the project that you really add. Creative for me is more about how you create these processes or this kind of atmosphere in the team, environment in the team, that they dare to try new things.
Okay, so creative and finding solution, teamwork.
Yeah, exactly. And creative. So when you make innovative, it's just to prove that's to move or press that creativity in the right direction that is relevant to solve a really specific problem.
Yeah.
So then it's more specific and it's more difficult to be innovative than creative. Creative, I think that's more. I mean, I tried now something new. I became scared, but maybe it's not relevant. So
relevant to the challenge you're facing.
So sometimes you have to try many things, and at the end of the project, okay, I was really creative, but it was the same. But that experience helps you for the next time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes happens innovation. Creativity have to be in all the projects.
Yeah, this is like
this is a ground. It's like sustainability. You have to this ground. If not, and then sometimes you make innovation. I think it's fantastic because then it becomes more relevant, and that innovation you can reduce and go further.
Exactly. Yeah, but okay. So creativity. Okay, this is something. How to say? It's fundamental in every project.
Yeah.
But when it comes to innovation, do you get this from the client, or no? You try, let's say, from Tengbom, to add it to your project. How is the relation there?
I mean, sometimes, a few times I have found a client who say, you have to be extremely innovative in this project. But I have never found clients who say no to a better thing.
Of course.
For the same money.
100%, yeah.
So it's not the thing. Well, we are really transparent in Tengbom in the way they said that when we explain to the clients, we have different roles, and it's going to help us with creativity. So it doesn't mean that we are going to give you something that you don't want to have. You are going to have, but we are going to try to be. We are going to be creative, and we're going to try to be innovative in the way that is going to help you.
So you're clear from the beginning.
We are transparent in our processes. And
so you tell the client, okay, we are doing this.
We work in that way.
Exactly. Yeah, with the same amount of hours and budget. No more, no maybe.
Yeah, we propose our budget, of course. So then it becomes a dialogue. So for this thing, we need this budget, and they can. I mean, sometimes they say yes, and sometimes say less hours. But we try from the beginning to explain our clients what we think. We're also really careful. It's because it's not that. I think that sometimes it's to be really humble. Many times you have to be really humble because the clients have a lot of experience. They know what they want.
Okay.
So you have to be really careful and humble and to listen. How did they work? Probably they have their own processes, and to understand how they work, that you suit your processes are good for them as well. So this kind of I think it's really important, this kind of humble thing to learn from. It's not that
listen.
It's our process to listen to be, but our ambition. We are honest with our clients, of course, of ambition. And we have special roles for this kind of creativity. We call gestalt leader and so on.
Okay.
So we are transparent in the way. We have a person who is going to be as well catalyst in a question. We have our in the same way that you explained that you have your sustainable specialist.
Yeah.
So we are transparent, and we have a dialogue about that and so on. And we have to be as well humble in the way thinking about the clients have the money that they have. I'm not talking about our budget for the architects. We're talking about they have a budget for the building or for the space that they're creating or for the landscape they're creating. So we have to be humble in our process, in the way we're working, and we have to propose things that they can afford to build.
I mean, this comes in a kind of everything in life. Like, listen first before you jump into
the proposal.
Exactly. Maybe I find it also like some other professions, they're good in listening, you know, and then start to act. For us, we more like, I feel like sometimes we tend to be we know this kind of project is gonna result in this and this, and we just like move further instead of maybe there's something different here. Let's sync our process with the client and understand first, and so on.
Totally about. And as well, try to find as well the lust, to say, senses, to the joy to work with the projects, because sometimes you always think the others have a better projects, the other ones have. I mean, I think that you always can find this kind of joy in architecture in the smaller projects, in more humble projects.
Yeah.
So it's about what can you do in that project? What can you be more creative and innovative in this project? It's about the way that you use a Baroque facade. It could be a new way to work in that way. It's this kind of that makes that you save material and becomes more beautiful, and then you are innovative. This kind of thing.
Exactly.
So it's more about not expecting all time that it's going to come a better project.
This is also like something we need to change in our mindset, is that we are waiting for the perfect big project, prestige project, instead of like enjoying every single project, because in every single project we can do an impact. Then of course the scale of the impact depends on the project and so on. But I mean, instead of working for months or years and waiting for the perfect, why not enjoying every day of work?
I could totally agree about that. And I think that's what I like in Tengbom, that we want to have this. Of course, we want to have high-end projects. It's not that we say no, but we have to find the joy. We have to, because we have to have fun in the studio, in our projects. And then we have to find the fun and the joy in each project, not expecting that just one project, just 5 persons, and the other ones are just producing any money. So, because it's this kind of joy of fun that is one of the keys as well to be creative. I mean, to be more open. I mean, when you are having a good time, that you are more open to new things.
Exactly. You're more, how to say, happy to try new thing, to bring a new thing, to test a new thing. But if you're like, how to say, not really enjoying, then you don't really take it to the next level.
Yeah, but it's like thinking about mañana instead to think about what's going on now and to enjoy the moment.
Yeah. Can you share with us like a project you work on, and like what kind of feedback you gave? How did they change or adjust or update?
I mean, it's different. When I'm in this kind of, I work sometimes as well in a project.
Also,
in a team, but it's not so often. I work just 1 or 2 projects at the same time. But when I give feedback, it's more, first you have to understand the context for the team. So in which kind of a stage of the project. So you are not going to give feedback. It's the same with the students for something that happened for 3 months ago.
But how do you get a background? They present to you, or you go and read in the files?
It's usually, in fact, we have a system where we follow all now it's quite optimistic, but I'd say we follow 90% of the projects that are going on in the office. We're talking about Stockholm.
Yeah.
Once per month. So we have a complete overview about the states, how are the projects once per month.
Okay.
So we follow quite close.
Status of what? Like how much budget, or
the design. We are working more about the design, the styling, and the sustainability of the projects and so on. So we have an overview about how the last sketches we have once per month. So
with every like a project leader, or with whom?
I mean, we have a system because we want to have as well this. It sounds really complicated, but it's more easy than it looks. So,
okay.
And we can really happy about the technique, about the digitalization. So in that way, that helps. So each studio, they have a teams, the file. So once per month, they fill these teams with the last sketches. So all the studio and me can see about the status of the project. It becomes a transparent that everyone can learn from each other and to follow. So, and each month, I remember you have to fill up the hair. So, of course, sometimes you have to. You know how it is always the same usual suspects and so on. But it's fun. It's nothing. So these are transparency about everyone follow about the status and displaying. I mean, it takes 10 minutes to fill because they have this documentation ready.
Okay. The template. And
exactly. They have the template and they have this kind of working document that we call just Stanley's document that we use to present with our clients and so on. So they put it in that, and then you can follow quite quick about that. So and the other ones is they always have having a kind of teaching process that this kind of processes to a call to a fill up session and so on. It becomes more and more automatically. So they do it without asking, more or less. It becomes more better. At the beginning, it was not like that. It was,
of course,
but now it's became almost because I believe really, that they find a joy about that because they get good
Yeah,
input.
yeah.
Because it's that if you don't get input, you don't get big call about that to the call. So it becomes more easy in that way, and that it becomes more this open, inclusive way to think. And then all the team is called to that. So everyone can say things in that and talk with ideas and so.
So you get some background facts about the project, and then you have the meeting.
Exactly. We call feed up, pin up, or whatever. So they saw the last sketches and so on. And many times for me, I don't think that there are bad ideas. So there are really bad developed ideas. They are not relevant.
You're more polite now.
No, but I see, because they say, this have to look like a princess torta. Or say, okay.
What does it mean?
Like a cake. Yes, I'm making a stupid example, for example, but it's more asking about why have to look like that, and if they cannot answer, so they realize themselves that it's not a good idea, this kind of thing. And when they came with the idea, the architectural idea of the project, then it becomes another phase, or then it becomes the proposal, and then it becomes more about, but okay, what you are sketching, you have not, or what is their idea from the beginning? Because why is it you lose the track. So the first is how they came to the architectural idea. The second, how they follow.
Okay.
So it's more about that. What I mean that it's not about ideas. It's more about this. How is the relevance of the idea for the solution of what you have to solve?
Yeah.
So because everything depends on the context as we talk about. So it's more about that. It's not that okay, this idea is good, but not now.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's more like, are we answering by our design? Are we answering to the question from the client, to the responding to the challenge?
And as well to dare them to talk already on aesthetics, really from the architectural idea. I always try to encourage them, and when you came with architectural idea, it's not just words. They have to really start to say how do you translate that in form and aesthetics. Therefore, aesthetics is related to form. Still, style is more about how this form look alike, but they always try to come into the aesthetics and the way that you experience quite early in the process. And because that's as well really related to sustainability, about the way they looks, about then you can start to work and to talk about those things together before they start. Because when you look about some of the processes that we have here in Sweden, many times the aesthetics comes a bit too late about the forms. I mean, so it's more encouraged to say, okay, I know that you don't have to deliver that, but you have to know.
Yeah, at least.
Because quite it becomes like that. Because you don't have to deliver to the client or to the others who are going to come to then that doesn't mean that you don't have to know what are the consequences of what you're doing in the aesthetics, in the way that you experience.
Did it happen that you gave like a feedback and had a discussion, then they completely changed the not idea, maybe proposal or?
Many times, but I have to be clear about that. It's not that they have to do what I say.
You're more like to inspire.
So what is important for me, if they don't do what I raise the questions I write, they can just explain why.
Yeah, exactly. It's
So once when they said that, I feel that mostly of the times they really happy about the feedback that the project becomes better. But this is their project as well, because I usually it's not that I draw.
No.
I usually, even it's really hard for me, I usually have not take the pencil.
I understand
but sometimes it's difficult at the end. I have to do that, but I try to avoid as much as possible. It's always they have to find themselves, because they are going to be more proud and more happy.
What do you focus on when you look at a project? Do you have some aspect that you always bring up or question?
Question is always why. It's always why is that, and so I always try to inspire about as well to have to think. I think for me a really important thing that is related to aesthetics is how you experience the buildings. It's just try to can you explain what that building is going to make with you? Is going to become a nicer person, to be more strict, to try to feel what are you going to experience when I come the experience about it. I'm going to or that kind of I like to raise that question about that. so that this user's perspective in the way, not how they are going to use the building, not how they're what that building is going to make to them. I'm going to become happier.
How its impact then.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be more open when I to work. It's going to be more this kind of atmosphere, quite cool atmosphere. So it's always that is related to aesthetic, about how it's made.
Yeah.
And the style, they can decide what's important. I like many different styles, I have to be honest. So I'm not that kind of stress. As good as it's good. So I quite more open. Sometimes it's most postmodernistic, most modernist, or kind of classical, more in the songs. I have, like in the school, I mean, you have to respect the different students and so on. As far as they have a clear ideas and they develop it good, and they are try to make it them appealing and beautiful.
What is the absolutely most important aspect for you?
And they have architectural ideas. So I have it's about that. Sometimes what do they miss in the project? But what do you want with quality? It's not, because many times you explain how the project is solved, where you came into the room, where you came that and so on. But for me, it's more important, or at least as important as the function, is what this building is going to do. It's going to become a better street. It's going to become a more this kind of parameters about what it's going to do to me and to other. And that is we have to relate or design decisions, not just about how they look alike, about what they do.
Exactly, the impact they make.
Yeah, exactly. But that I think that we have to become better.
Yeah. But how did you engage the people? Because as you mentioned, it's a cultural thing in the design process.
But mainly, I mean, you have the design process, but I have another kind of network I work with, another kind of tools that I work with them. So it's more or less to engage all the office. It's not just the team. So we're trying to inspire them in different ways. We try to dare in different ways. We try to make we have internal, external lectures. We have workshops. I inspire them in different kind of talks. We have all their how to make different models, physical models. So we have a kind of different
other
tools,
activities
and so on. In the overworld, each studio have our own responsibility as well to talk with me, to read books and so. So you have a kind of palette that it makes this kind of inclusivity and openness and try to dare. We have quite recently moved to a new offices, and it was one of the most funny processes I have been.
And it's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's pink as well, as a bit like here. But it was about these processes. It was really funny because we also start we started sustainability. All the offices, of course, Ortelbruck, recycle many things. So of course, because it have to be like I mean to be this sustainable. But we were thinking about the qualities that I told before that we wanted to have. It have to be beautiful, and one of the qualities that we have to do is to put the architecture in the heart and the processes to build. And the other was how we can make our office that make persons who work there, not just the architects, all the people who work there, to dare more, to try to test more. Okay. So, or then one of not just that, but one of the reasons we have to make a kind of statement that maybe you don't dare to do to be. So when you use some different kind of colors that is not usually in this kind of in this kind of Swedish standard. So it was really funny. Even in the physical environment, you can make and not just the good projects. We always have to put at things that doesn't, or to talk about the things that doesn't work, because we have to create about this daring thing in this dare and to try new things. It's at the same time it can that. Many times you are going to to fail, because if you don't,
it's part of the success.
It's a part of success, because if you don't fail, you cannot become innovative. It's the thing that I told before about creative. You have to be all the time, and innovative you manage sometimes, but you have to have first creative to try, and so on.
So like in order to change, maybe not change, but introduce something new to the culture, to the existing culture, you need like not only one tool, but some other tools in order to have like this push
Exactly, it's a bit the same like architecture, different scales at the same time. So
Yeah.
you work with the oversize at the same time you work how
Yeah.
it's going to be the pavement or the socle in the building.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different how it's work from that everyone. And when I say everyone, not just the architects, you have to have this kind of environment of feeling that everyone can come to a lecture and everyone can talk in a project. So we have this kind of feature. We have once per week, that we have we invite to lunch and everyone in the office can come and discuss a project, and with everyone, and we came with so much relevant. It could be the administration part and so on, and they're so fun, and they came, and so this kind of everyone is welcome to talk about a project and to say something about a
exactly.
project.
But how do you experience? Because you mentioned there are different roles, like creative director. And you told me like gestaltningsledare and studiochef.
Yes.
And architects. So there are like many different roles. How you can create like an organization diagram or picture? How is this?
I mean, first you have the project.
Yeah.
And you have a team.
Yeah.
And the team have to be they have to be able to take their own decisions. The final decisions. Yes. That's it. And then the team is, I mean, I like the inclusivity, but doesn't mean that I like consensus. I don't like consensus. You understand the thing. It cannot be, I mean, at the same, it have to be one thing that you are working for.
Yeah.
And two things. I mean, I have to be clarified because if, so it have to be a kind of hierarchy in that. So the team is by itself, and then you have a uppdragsansvarig, a project leader or what I call, and that's the person who have to take the last decision.
Yeah.
That's not. But it's good to know that no one can everything, and it's good to have different roles and so kind of leads. And more, it's not that you can or not can. Maybe sometimes you don't have the time either, and some complexity and so. So you always have as a pair with this gestaltningsledare.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the different person, or sometimes it have to be the same person that work. But in the so the responsibility is this kind of the catalysator you all have to think inside the team and to really to shift and to push and as well sketch and they have to both to be good process leaders, but as well they have to be good in about what's good or bad in beauty in architecture and so on. So it's quite a special role. It's not easy. At the same time, I usually dare them as well. I don't understand that we have in the center. You have to think all the time that maybe you are the person who are going to sketch less in the project. So it's not that it's so it's a bit like me. You know, what's how to take to back. But of course they sketch. It's not like of course they sketch, but they have to make the mindset. I don't expect that you is going to find this solution. I expect that you are going to find a really good solution. That sometimes it came from the intern, sometimes it came from the client, and sometimes it came from the gestaltningsledare or from the one. So it's to be a bit more this perspective is always the best idea we have to develop, not your idea.
Yeah, and if we talk in general now, like not only Tengbom or AFRY or so. What you think architects should stop doing or do? Something we usually do.
Yeah, I think that I think that in order to become more inclusive, that I think is good. As I said, no inclusive not meaning consensus. Inclusive, I mean to take many more the perspectives in our projects. In order to be more innovative and creative. So I think that we have to stop to say or think that is our project. This is my project.
Okay.
I think...
Can you elaborate more?
Yeah, because I have that sentence that everything became so personalized. I think because it moves quite quick from a building or a design to a person.
My baby project.
Because if we don't move that, then I cannot give critics, or the project is going to be more difficult to become better. Maybe it's already a really good project, but you miss the chance to become better.
That's true.
So I think that to to move a bit more about that, still you have to be really proud what you're doing and so. But it's you not your person. You have to be open to accept.
It's a project, not you as a person. Let's say Mustafa,
or to be a bit more open and more humble. I would say to say. I think maybe I say maybe.
Yeah.
There are others who have better ideas. And
could be
also to have the process, because if sometimes it becomes really. Now going to be a bit polemical and say we think sometimes we are artists.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we are artists. Even some ones I have really nice discussions with other person that they really think that architecture is just art. That kind of, so because it's art that we can discuss it to be your thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But because it's something that is going to be used by the users and so on, so you have to be really careful. So I think that's a really good start to be more innovative. That's the thing.
Yeah.
To take help from others.
Yeah,
that's really.
You remind me. I study architecture in Milano, and once the professor start to like give me feedback, and also there's a big difference between there and here in Stockholm. Here, like more soft, you know, and your idea could be the best idea, but there no, like there's a specific direction. So I took it very personally, and I was like very sad and angry and so on. Then the professor noticed that I reacted about his emotionally. About his feedback, and he told me like don't fall in love with your solution, fall in love with the process of finding solution instead, because that's how you can be more creative, innovative, and respond to the challenge instead of you say this is the best thing in the world and this is your project, and if somebody touch it then it's me, you know. I think this mindset we need to shift.
I think so.
Yeah.
Then I think it will manage to change this mindset. We are going to be more relevant for the society and for our clients.
Yeah. It's like having, how to say, being okay with getting feedback and working on it instead of like, no, I don't want to be criticized because like I'm Mustafa. I don't, you know.
I understand. And as well, I have to be clear as well. It doesn't mean that we don't have already our profession is really relevant.
Yeah.
Our knowledge is really relevant, and we should lead that process.
Of course.
So it doesn't mean that we have a really important role, but we have to be humble in the way to have the right inputs and the right perspectives and so on, and not to just to personalize what I think is the best. And so we try to move that. It's about the style, so what's important is important. So
yeah. I see like the role of architects, it's, how to say, it's a big responsibility because you're making impact on life impact, you know, if you do, how to say, a building or a function and so on. This is gonna stay for a long time.
You want to be a stay for a long time, then this is good architecture.
Yeah.
I mean, not always, but I mean, I mean, if you what you design stays there 200 years and still enjoys, so you have managed.
Exactly, like so you impact people's life. So this responsibility is big.
Yes, and to think about that the other persons and how they're going to be, how they're going to welcome, how they're going to feel when they came. So.
And what skills you think we as an architect should develop or learn? Maybe there's something new that we should learn.
We have to learn each day. If not, we are dead somehow as a professor. I mean, it's one part of the innovation of creativity. That's the reason. But I think that we architects in general are quite good to learn new things. We are really curious. We always almost became a lifestyle that I think sometimes is dangerous. But
lifestyle of...
I mean, to be architect. I mean, when you are on holidays, you are going to look a building, or to a museum, or to a landscape. So I don't see the lawyers doing that. Going to a law school when they're on holidays. So and that's really good. But so I think that we are good in learning somehow. Probably, I think that we have to be better to apply that learnings in our daily life. I think that this is kind of a bridge that we can and that's the reason that we try to about this creativity thing, to break our way to work because we get new knowledge often, but maybe don't use them. Also
don't apply it.
Exactly. That's a what we talked before, how you break these kind of processes that it makes to dare and to try new things, So new skills, you of course have to have new skills and so on, and that, but take it as a skills, as a new tools that we need to manage this digitalization, and the way that we have to work with the new tools in the way to achieve sustainability. Otherwise, we have to know that. But I have to be clear, I don't think that that's our main goal. This have to have this inclusive in our processes. I always think, I will try to, when I came into a meeting, a project meeting, who is going to represent the aesthetics and the spaces, the design of the spaces and so on. It's never to forget, because it's important to know is the architect in that meeting, if you relate with other constructions and so on. So don't take the perspective in that meeting. So, but of course, we have to learn constantly new things about how we deal with sustainability. It's new knowledge all the time.
Exactly.
And I always try to make what's better, how that kind of tools can help you to become better architecture.
Yeah. But a question here also, like, as an architect, what should I focus on? Because there is a social aspect, the sustainable, ecological, then the budget and money, then like the AI, then this and this and this. What should I focus on? Should I learn everything or to stay relevant?
I mean, I think that to stay relevant, you have to make good architecture, or good spaces and so on. And of course, that spaces have to be sustainable and so on. I think that the digitalization is a tool, it's not a goal per se. I mean, sustainability is a goal.
Yeah.
But the digitalization is a tool that can help you to make it quicker and so on. So that you have to. That's the good thing. I mean, we have to think that we have moved to the former view of what an architect was a man. Of course, you have to be a man for 100 years ago. Who have almost like a genius. There should be know everything. Have to do that and work 24 hours and so on. I don't think that is the way that I want to work. I think that is a new knowledge is impossible that one person knows everything. So it's a question about how you manage this knowledge and how you make the right decisions at that moment. And sometimes you do that. Or that's the question why you should create this kind of this kind of way to work, that you can get the input really early about sustainability and so on, and try to put into a project. Because, and I think that we can become better about these ideas have to be in the beginning, because when it came in at the end of the project, it became kind of greenwashing, and it's not really relevant. So. But what is important is that to accept that there are other people that knows better than you. But how are you going to do to have that perspective in your project?
Exactly. How will you use that?
Exactly. So it can be a feedback session, a couple hours. So the different kind of tools, but to be aware that maybe you are not the best. How can you be this humble thing? Let's say.
Exactly. How do you use the others to empower your project?
To become the project better.
Yeah. And what do you think about AI and like all this making time shorter, replacing architects? I love to ask you as a creative leader.
I think that I'm really excited to know more about how it's going to develop. You try to follow and to know exactly what's happening. So I'm excited. I'm positive. I mean, I think I hope they can become further to become a better society and better architecture. I think they can help.
Yeah.
But of course, I have the feeling as well, and this is a lot of speculation yet, but I have the feelings that is going to affect in the way that we work. Maybe not the early stages, but in the middle, later stages of our projects, in the way
production?
That the production, or a bit early on the production, in the way that it's going to be less work for us.
Cool. Good news.
More holiday. I mean, but I think that the creative part about the way, because you shouldn't forget the architectural intelligence. It's not creative. It's not innovative. They always base it in things that are already done. It's the base about that. Not yet anyway.
Not yet.
But as I understand, there's still many things about to more about what the knowledge that is, not creating new knowledge. And that's as far as that way, if we are innovatives and creatives, we are still going to be really relevant. The other question is that there is the humanoia part, the persons that are related to the users and so on. I don't think the architectural intelligence can understand well that. So I think that we have still a lot of. It's a bit about this kind of when we say that, for example, that we are not going to build new buildings. That I think is a good. I mean, we are going to build new buildings, but we have to start the project thinking why we have to do that. If there are existing ones, how can we use the things? So I heard many times, I have the feeling, I heard from others, then we are going to lose job and so on. I said, no, I don't think so. We can use our knowledge in a different way. Maybe you are not going to build new buildings. That's another question. But I don't think that you can create spaces or atmospheres, experience out of existing buildings. So it's more about that our role are going to change and develop in a different way. But as far as we are creatives and try to adapt, so we're going to exist as a profession.
I read like a quote by a professor in Harvard and says, AI will not replace you. A person with AI will replace you.
That's cool. Maybe.
Maybe,
But let's see what's developed, just to follow. And try to. But we're curious. We're going to follow. I think so. It's more about to make the best out of the situation.
Exactly.
It's nothing that is going to disappear. It's going to
continue.
Stay,
Develop.
Or it's going to become better. So the AI. So there is just to learn. Okay, instead to. So we have to be as well a bit of pragmatic in that. It's not a war that we're going to win. AI is architecture. AI. So this AI is going to stay and became better. So it's the way how we can be relevant in that.
And back to the design process you work with, when is the best phase or moment to have this review or pinup? Like how early?
Anytime. I always say but of course if we make it really simple, I mean, I think that it's good to have this review when you start to have the various ideas for the architectural ideas, the concept. You can call it a concept. An architectural idea also. But I want to follow as well. I think it's really nice when you are going into the big handling and the design, when you are making this kind of deliveries, because I think that it happens more design that they can make. You can have a great project idea or concept. It becomes really
something
bad architecture because all the details and the way they have translated the information, the communication about the project have been badly done. So I like a lot that, but I really enjoy when you are going to how you can relate about this detail, how have to do with the idea.
Interesting. And before we move to the next part of this episode, going to be more about you. What do you like enjoying most in being creative leader?
I think this is what engages me energy. That is the way that I like to put it, and the way it's the same that it's special. But I like when the people became better on doing things, or when people develops learn things. So it's just the way that I enjoy myself. It gives me energy. It's so strange, but it's the same when you're in the school. I really enjoy when a student that you think that could be suddenly surprise you. And they say that they have been trying hard to move hard and develop. Then that gives me more than itself how beautiful. Even I like beautiful architecture it is. It's the other that gives me more. It's a kind of tool to make beautiful architecture, of course. But it's a fundamental tool and so on. And that gives me energy. I have been there in another roles that I have not yet in architecture, in other positions I have that. I have noticed through my life that gives me a lot of energy when people became better.
Yeah. Like
I'm not saying the architecture, I saying the people.
Also, yeah. I think it's really interesting, like the way you work and the system, you together with the team and Tengbom built. So really keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And let's move to the next part of our episode. It's gonna be more about you.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us more, like where you grew up, what you study, how was your childhood, and so on. Like more about Jesus.
Jesus is quite a usual name in Spain, but not as usual here in Sweden, as you understand. Jesus was born in Spain. Jesús Azpeitia, of course. North of Spain the area is called Basque Country. So in a city is called Vitoria-Gasteiz, quite close to Bilbao, if you relate.
Yeah.
So many years ago, in the 70s.
Many years ago.
Yes, became older with time. So, you cannot change that. I was born there, and I have a happy childhood. I was living city, and then I decided to study architecture, building architecture.
Why?
It sounds quite arrogant when you say, but for me it was quite obvious question, and I told you why, because I realized afterwards why it was obvious. Because my mother saved all the drawings that I did when I was a child. I was 7-8 years old or so.
Yeah.
And when I look back at that, I draw a lot of societies, Mirona, and societies. So I draw a lot of sketches in section.
Okay.
Or ants nest, or how they work, live. So have already this kind of all the houses there, or what should be outside, inside, where should be
like
the workers. Yeah. So it was almost not architecture, but urban planner for the ants. So I have been something that unconscious have followed me about. I like how you put the notice. So when I say obvious, it was that the way it was. Yeah, I have been doing that since I was a child.
Keep doing it.
So I keep doing the good. Yeah. So it was something that I was always engaged, interested in somehow. So I like a lot of mathematics. I really like. I was really good in mathematics. I kind of rusty now. So I was mainly in architecture. I think that the mathematics and the way that you work with the space are so related. The geometry more than the geometry is really close to the mathematics.
Yeah. So you start to study architecture.
Yes.
In which university?
In San Sebastian, it's in the Basque Country. And that time you have a kind of strange law at that time, not anymore. That when you were born in Spain, but when you were born in the Basque Country, you just could study in the Basque Country.
Okay.
So I wanted to study in another city in Spain. I have to move first to the city and stay there. So it was almost like you have to do it the other way. Yeah. But of course, I always since child I was quite wanted to try new things and to be curious, and so I wanted to. So then for me it was more easier to take 1 year Erasmus student abroad. And then it came to Stockholm. That was
here we go.
Yes, but starting. So it was San Sebastian. It was quite nice school, a small school in the size that in the Spanish schools are. So it was 1,000 students, and and after some years in San Sebastian, I had the chance to came to Stockholm as a exchange student. It was really beautiful time at that time in 90s. It was.
Is it in KTH or where?
Yeah, KTH. And it was the year after Sweden came into the European Union. So there was we were one of the first exchange students from Europe, not from the Nordic countries. So it was, we almost cool. Quite exotic. Everyone wanted to talk with you, invite to the parties. So I have a really great experience the first years in Stockholm and so on. And then I finished my studies in San Sebastian. But then when I was an exchange student here in Stockholm, then I met my husband. So at that time, so then I finished my studies in San Sebastian and I came back to Stockholm 2001 and then started my careers, as you say, or my work here as a professor here.
Yeah, long career. So where did you, can you take us to the different stations?
Yeah, I started as more in a regular, generic way. So you start in a big studio. So I started directly for white architects. So I worked there 7 years. But I realized quite early that I really wanted to a bit of what we talked before, how we work with other people and make them so. So I have the chance really early to start to teach. So parallel to the professional, so I started to teach 2007 in KTH. So I have been teaching there since till last year.
Amazing.
Yeah, so many different roles, all from a teacher, that is a lecturer, but of course as well leading positions, prodecan and head of the education and different kind of roles. So I always have this kind of teaching way, in the way, pedagogical way. And the professional, it could be in big offices, like was White. I started my own office with colleagues and so on. But I quite easily I see that I really like to work with others and making the others try push a bit further in different ways. So they always have hamlet that in this kind of and then after some years, it could be around for 10 years ago, more or less, I started to have questions in different kind of roles. Not there are architects role, but not really architecture. So more about my background, but in a different positions. And I started more strategical way. So I started to work in the Stockholm's Architectural Association in the board of directors. Became Swedish Architects Boards of Directors, and now as well in Dramaten, in the Royal Dramatic Theatre of Sweden, as in the board of directors. So. But it was a bit the same always. How can you make the others better? And the thing, so it's more because when you're sitting in this kind of board of directors, one of really important, it's not operative. It's coaching and making the others and following. You know, you can call him pin-ups, fit-ups, present reviews of this. Always with your perspective. So it was really nice about in the way I like to work with different things at the same time. If I just work with one position employee, so I get bored. So I need this kind of jungle to feedback from around. So it can be a bit more professional in different ways, different roles, and enjoy. So I quite not just strictly to design buildings or design spaces, but even I do it sometimes, but more in this kind of coaching in different ways. Of course, so then in some positions I can call it coach, but I am boss as well and a leader. So it's not that I do not realize that, but it's always this catalysator way that I enjoy.
What do you, if you look back, what is something, project or a role that you're super proud of?
I try to be proud, even I sometimes I require it. But the most, I think that the most thing that I'm more happy to have achieved, but it was not me, but I got that. It was when I got named as a teacher of the year in KTH, all KTH.
Wow.
All the schools. So it was 2012. I became okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And I mean, you know how is the situation in different about. I mean, it was quite of the few. I consider myself as a not foreign, how to say, invandrare, I would say, I mean, but with another background. So it was quite nice that they saw my work. So it was, I became really happy about that.
That's beautiful.
Yes, really. But I'm happy about all the changes I have helped to do. As I remember when we have in this inclusivity work, what we have in Swedish architects, Sveriges arkitekter, we work with this kind of policies. Was quite then in Dramaten when we have this Me Too. 4 or 5 years ago, we were on the cover so many. So how we try to move or to be more inclusive at national theater, and even without lose the quality, and so and to break things that it was there and so on. So to help that, it's not me who have done, but I have to help others. So it's some different kind of man.
Cool. The teacher of the year.
Yeah,
it's
it was
amazing.
Really, it's kind of
Did you got like this diploma?
Yeah, I got this kind of how to say pokal, how to say this kind of trophy,
wow.
a bottle of champagne. You got money as well.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. And then you get a frack, and then you have to go with a frack. It's in the Stadshuset, so you get really.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool with the orchestra and so on. And then you get, and it was really nice because it was at the same ceremony that the students get their diploma.
Yes.
The
It's
summer.
a
So
huge
it was
day.
the last is the so, when it became even funnier, there are many students from other institutions, because that was for all the kids came from me. To me, I said I was happy because how important it is to have good teachers. So it's a case. So it was really nice.
But tell me, what did you do then that year? Like, do you remember?
But it was about what we talked before, this kind of cultural changes, how you can make the perspective. I think that the main change that I did that time, it was quite traditional way. It was the year that it was the bachelor degree project, and I was the head of the bachelor degree at the KTH Architectural School. And it was more the changes at that time, and it's not questioning the others. There was one before. I have to have many respect because they were relevant. But it was really based to make a gigantic building in the center of Stockholm, and to how big, and so it was more about its landmarks and so on. It was for me to change my thought to say, okay, that's not this diversity that we want to have. So I changed many things. For example, it was instead of one project you can choose between 4 different projects. First time that you can choose to build housing. So because of this kind of, to start to break different kind of,
amazing,
how kind of if you work with this kind of projects, you are better architects, to try to break these hierarchies to see that. And as well, one of the questions is how you make this inclusivity to the students. So one of the demands that I have as well, that it was that they have to be clear about, you have this kind of learning outcomes in this kind of education. So they always have to add at that time one each student before that, one extra learning outcomes from each student. That what are you going to learn in that? Not just what I said that you have to draw. So I was thinking. But of course, with aesthetics and so on. It was a lot of mind changes about to break, about the diversity and so on. And they have to, and to break the rules. For example, that was on that time. They used to be always in central Stockholm. So how we can
interesting.
So maybe now it's quite obvious, but at that time it was not obvious.
This is what I love about the podcast. Is like we hear stories that we really don't think about. Like we just take it for granted. Okay, it has been like this for years, and this is it.
It was at that times. It was sometimes even I think that architects are quite open, collective in the way inclusivity. But I remember, for example, at that time, it was not me to the designs, but other was at that time. So, for example, to get into the architectural schools, you can make it in 3 different ways. Or one of the ways is you make this kind of exam, design proof. And at that time, one of the design moments in this kind of test,
the
task exactly, it was. The settle used to be Swedish Midsummer, blah, blah, blah. And they say, stop. Man, then you take away 20% of the society who doesn't know what's a Swedish Midsummer. Well, what happens if you just came to the country for 3 years ago? And so on. So this kind of things that... perspectives, inclusivity, and so on. That doesn't mean that you have to lower the quality of the project 2 times to see about the
process. Just things different. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm proud of that.
Yeah. And if you look back again, is there something you will not do it if you go back in time?
I think that nothing that will not do it, but there are some things that are not so proud to have been proper. You are talking about, for example, about architecture. I'm not so proud about my work that I did in the waterfront here in Stockholm. So the Congress
building?
Hall, the Congress Hall. So that was really participatory with that. I think that.
Why you are not?
Yeah, because I remember at that time I was so engaged. I think they was so right in the place and the thing. And but when I see with the time, I said, okay, was that really what the site needed there? Or so on. So of course, you can discuss about the beauty of the thing. I don't think that is beautiful. Even I have been part of that project.
But I mean, can you decide about the function, or it's already decided that time?
It's already decided. So maybe it was not my decision, but what I think that I was so positive about that. It's more about what I can be more critical about myself. That maybe I will do a good job as well, but I could be more critical about it. About that. So I know some. So others are duo.
Mm.
There are many things that I'm not so happy or so proud. So it should be like that. It's what I was talking before. It's part of the learning process.
In case, let's say, you will have another profession, not architecture, what would you like to try or to be?
I read your questions when you say and it was quite tricky because I was thinking, but what I'm happy about now is that I have different professions at the same time. So I work, so I'm not just working with, even I just can't say that I'm not architect mostly of my time as a, so you understand, so I have already shifted some kind of my
a lot, huh?
So anyway, but of course it have to be something that it have to be something that you dare to try new things, and so it should be something creative, and so probably it should be something more clear about into the education. But
you're already doing.
Yeah, like... what I say, but I do education in Tengbom as well. So in my role, so it's not at the end you work with the thing, but more creative. But I cannot say exactly. Maybe something that I really like a lot, but I never dare to do.
What is it?
A clothes design or the design.
But you're already doing, huh? I see. I follow you on Instagram as well. Or I see you like in different events or in the office. You really dress, how to say, beautiful and well. So you're already practicing it.
Yeah, practicing, but I'm not making it. So I probably the design process. So I probably tried about this kind of office.
Like more fashion and textile.
Yeah, because they're always so innovative in the way that they always have to follow more closely the society that we architects. I have the feeling that we architects are always the last one in this creativity. First it came the designers of the street, the graffiti,
IT programmers.
So then came the architects. So we are already too late. But at the same time, it have to be that because the architecture will take another time or it takes another time process. So it's not a complete. So probably it will be more in the front line. The opposite side. More in this kind of that happens to the next season.
Cool.
Don't wait 30 years.
Yeah. So you like, how to say, you like to try maybe to design like clothes or something like within fashion?
I'm more related to what I like to fashion that is more deep that you think the fashion about how they follow the culture and the people. I think that they are more alert and learning about what's the trends.
Yes, closer to the
society in that way. So what the movements so happens, they realize with the artist movements, and so they really enjoying quite cool. You can see from the music they came into as a creative directors and so on. So they are more open in that way. I have that feeling. I cannot promise. So maybe something not so different. I'm sorry, but more daring.
And Jesus, if you choose to be another creator, like not a human, but anything else, what will you be and why?
I read that question as well. I read all the questions. And I thought that was a really nice question because I think that I will decide to be some kind of bird, something that flies.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm going to explain. Not because you fly, you can do it because I admire the ergonomics in the birds.
Aerodynamics.
Because they always work in the way that they don't want. They never change the conditions around them. They adapt their conditions in their bones, how they fly, for example, to make if you have the wind against you, they change in the way that makes aerodynamics possible. So the way they have to adapt to make bad conditions into good conditions. So I have this kind of aerodynamics or the way that they have their attitude. Not because I want to have the body, but this kind of they can adapt the negative things into a positive. I have that feeling. Or more to
cool. And if you like to visit as a bird, which city or place you want to go to?
You are right. I love cities more than nature. Even I'm in nature many times, but because I will need this kind of input from cultures. of course, I like big cities with this kind of more. One city that I would like to love to visit, I never have been, could be Tokyo, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been there?
No, it's also on my list.
Because I have the feeling it's really different culture and so it could be one, absolutely one.
Maybe it could be a site visit or study visit one day.
Right. Let's see. We have to manage with the sustainability question of flights also. But of course, sometimes it's going to happen.
Yeah. And you mentioned you are part of different associations, organizations, boards, and so on. How do you manage the work-life balance, or what is the work-life balance for you?
Good question, because sometimes I wonder as well. I have this. I work more than 40 hours
in a week.
In a week. But what I have to be clear is about everything that I work over the 40 hours is just. But we have to understand. It have to give me energy.
Okay.
Even though I have to take a walk. So as far as kind of extra things that you are talking of, that are not extra, the other things, taking energy more than giving, I have to take out them.
Okay.
And that's it's a bit kill your dealer, because you always get this kind of you get so many compliments. I just have to say no. So so it's this kind of balance that sometimes it takes time, but in the way that you don't realize that are not positive anymore. And so I try to say no, but it's so it's more about that. I work a bit more that I should do. But as far as the gain more energy that it takes, so it works for me. That means that I can relax and I can sleep and so on. So it's more about that kind of strategy.
How does your day look like? Like, when do you wake up? What do you do?
I wake up really, really early.
When?
So it could be quite easily 5 a morning.
5?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it came from that I still practice yoga, Ashtanga yoga. Not as often I did before, but then this is the tradition that the best time to practice is mornings. Even when you are in India, I have been 7 times in India with my husband and practicing yoga. Then even as earlier you are, as better student you are. I remember this kind of, I never forget that in mind. It was 3:30 a morning, and it was long queue to come into the...
Already?
I was so fast. So it was okay, that's too much. But then I was happy because I got that time. It was 5:30 a morning in India, and I was the bad student I have. So I get then you get used to be in the way, and still then you are fresh also, and you have sometimes I do it a morning and so not necessarily, but so you have keep it in. And I enjoy that moment because I can read. It's the moment I can read during the day and take things. I drink my coffee. I do sometimes. So it's quite quality time. Even you think that you have lost some time.
So no.
I win because the rest of the time, the day of it.
Like,
and when you came at home, you are just want to play with my dog and to relax in the sofa.
You work from office, or how is your schedule or days?
I prefer to work with people in real life. So it could be office or the place that they are. So mainly it's office. I think that the creative, innovative is more. I mean, because when sometimes you have to say that is not a good idea, it's better to do. I mean, it's not good to say by mail.
Always better with feelings.
And then you can manage. It's the same with lecturing. I don't like lecturing by Teams or Zoom because
it's like dead.
It's dead because I don't know. I realize, maybe you realize now, sometimes I talk too fast as a Spaniard or something. But I realize quite quick when the audience doesn't follow me.
Like you lose.
And I can react, and I have become much more better in that time. And became that doesn't understand. I have to stop.
Slow down.
You see that? I mean, people react.
You get feedback.
And when you're you say something, but because it's not what you say, it's how what you say comes into the other.
Exactly.
And then you lose with the so of course the more administrative that you have to do that. I do a lot of administration as well. You can do it by distance, but this creative is
better to have it. So you finish work and you go home, and how does the rest of the day look like?
Usually I like to cook. So when I have time, I cook. We usually cook all the time. And then it's time about to really relax and play with the dog. Sometimes you have to go out with them. What it happens many times are something after work or some event. So sometimes I came late.
Yeah.
So it's not that
it's like a special moments of the year.
So they not so. I mean, when so half or Sundays I came like go directly to sleep or take out the dog, or other times just then you cook and relax and have quality time.
Yeah. So if you wake up at 5, what time you sleep?
Too early.
Like. 9?
Could be at 9 in bed, but
That's
I
good.
can listen to some pod, or
Yeah,
I listen to your pod sometimes.
Thank you so much.
Or to the radio. I still listen to the Spanish radio, and it's nice with these programs. It's the same when I read. When I read literary books, I prefer to read it in Spanish. As somehow it comes much more easy.
Yeah, it's faster. Yeah.
Faster than came, so it's so then.
My goal now is like to sleep as early as possible instead of sleeping at 11 or 12. So like I wish, or I will work hard on sleeping early.
Okay.
It's just because I feel like my body need more like these sleeping hours.
And it's good because sometimes you realize everything fun have to happen at night, so later it can happen during the day. So how to try nice lunch and so on. But of course it's nice to meet people directly after work and mingling a bit.
Yeah. The thing is that we have to say we trained ourselves in the school to not to sleep, to work
but
late.
That's because this kind of a school of all picture of how our architecture should be. I mean, you are better if you don't sleep or work all night.
Go to the yoga.
And you work all night, and there's some kind of
like it's a lifestyle.
This kind of lifestyle. So I think that it doesn't mean that you don't have to work, but you have to have a balance in your life and so on.
Yeah. What are your hobbies?
Hobby, a bit cook, as I said. My dog, yoga. I love to travel. Now I became a lot about theater, so I became so really
into this
thing. So I try to learn a lot of that, so it could be a lot of theater pieces and to learn about the different things and so on. So I walk a lot.
That's good.
A lot. It could be. I mean, thanks a lot that we have a dog. They need to walk a lot, but it makes that you have you realize how nature and the walk makes you better person as well. So, but to read and
cool.
I like good wines, but I don't drink that much as well.
Okay.
So this kind of thing.
Great. So now we also explore a bit of the person behind the project and the role. Now we are in the final section and 3 questions. And the first one is that you give a message to yourself. You can drink water.
Yeah. I need it. More than a message. It's for me. If
to you, to yourself.
To interpret, I think that I have to remember better a message to myself. I'm quite passionate with my work.
Yeah.
So when I say yes to a thing, I go more than 100%. I want to become the best. And sometimes I realize it's a bit too much. So I have to be both more patient to understand. So to be more patient with this and times. So it could be as a help to myself.
Yeah. Cool.
But you try to make this kind of tricks all during the time. So.
Yes. But will you listen to yourself to this message? What do you think?
I think I will listen. But for me, I don't know about all this kind of thing that the Mediterranean or so on. So it's more impulsive. It's completely true. I have become so much more better. You have bad.
No idea.
But still I realized, I did it again.
And 3 takeaway messages to our listeners.
I think it's more about what we were talking about before, about how they can make in the daily life to be more open to new input and so on. I think it's really important. I think that the other one is more to be more humble about that. There's always people that is better than you. Don't forget that. So they should try to get their opinions to make you better.
Exactly. Yeah.
So And the third one, I write something on the third one, but I forget. But it's more about that style, about how I think that it could be, if our listeners are architects, but mainly for everyone, I think that we have to be better to explain the value we add about our work. Sometimes we just explain about what I said before, how the things look alike.
Yeah.
The amount of drawings that you send, and so instead to explain what our proposals are doing.
The value.
I think that we have to be, because I find that many times our values. So it's not about questioning about the values of our work. It's about that if we could explain a bit better, I think we can get better context for our work.
But we can do this when we understand what values we creating.
Or sometimes I think that we are a bit bad explaining that.
Interesting. And the last question in this episode is going to be asked by you. I don't have more questions. So please ask a question to our listeners.
It's about this kind of beauty or aesthetics. I would ask you to think. I think the question is, if I think that everyone has a clear idea what they think that is beautiful or not beautiful. I will ask them, why is so difficult for them to explain that to others and to say to others?
To stand for their opinion. Interesting.
I think there was because when I have that questions, it's always about, beauty is subjective and so. Yeah, it's subjective, but not for you. You know that. So because I always have, they always, both students, so they always say, I love this project. But then you know what you like.
Yeah, if you love it, so it means something.
So just say, so you know it. So explain it and stand up for that.
Exactly. Thank you so much for giving your time to the podcast. I'm really happy that we have this conversation, and keep up the good work, Jesus.
Thank you. It was a really pleasure to meet you here in this context.
Thank you.